Welcome to Slasher Sunday. We apologize for not having a Stephen King Saturday this week, but we're going to have two next week.
Yeah.
Just to make up for it. We did watch the movie. We didn't have time to review it because my kids stayed for an extra week because their mom was sick. Doesn't matter. Let's talk about Hell High, aka Real Trouble. So we watched this on YouTube, and the copy that we watched straight up said Real Trouble as the title, even though this is Hell High. So, and this is yet another one of those things where it's like, this is labeled a slasher online, right? And we watched it and it's like, there's a couple moments that are slasher elements.
Yeah.
But overall, would I consider this a slasher? Not really, but it is on slasher lists all the time. Mm-hmm. Like unknown gem slashers. And I'm like, after watching it, I'm like, all right, I watched it for Slasher Sunday, so let's talk about it for Slasher Sunday.
Slasher, yeah.
But this is a loose slasher.
Yeah.
That is not what I would consider this. I don't even know what I consider this. A rape revenge, maybe. Even though a rape doesn't really happen. I don't know. There's a lot of like attempted rape in this.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of like guys that don't want to take no for an answer. I don't know if Harvey Weinstein wrote this one, but
oh my god,
probably. He did have a pen in The Burning, so yeah. Which is a great slasher. I hate that he was involved in it, but it is what it is. You got to separate the art from the artist. Anyways, it is interesting to note that the lead of this movie, the main kid, the main bad guy bully kid, that's the like antagonist who becomes the victim in the end, he died of AIDS like shortly after this movie. Which is crazy to me because I don't know how like I feel like HIV and AIDS back in the 80s, you know, during the epidemic, when it like, I know it came out in like the more of like the late 70s, but it was really a huge problem in the early 80s, mid 80s. Not saying it's not a problem now, it still is a problem, but it's not the problem it was. It just feels like, and this is of course because of modern medicine and the retrovirals and everything, but like I feel like people died so fast from HIV back then.
Sure.
Like there's no signs, then you have AIDS and you're dead, which I guess is just how it works once you get AIDS. Like
if it's untreated,
then it's just fucking it's warp speed at that point. But it's like this kid shows zero signs of being sick or anything, right? And he was dead very shortly after they filmed this. So it's just incredible how fast it can hit you. Yeah. Terrible. Really just sad. Terrible to watch this and see that kid obviously has HIV at this point.
Sure.
Not knowing.
Yeah.
And is going to be dead like very soon.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Mm-hmm. That is really sad.
Yeah. What do you think of the movie? Overall.
Overall, I remember being not into this
We watched
movie.
this weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be helpful to like go through the notes and like kind of refresh. But my memory was that I didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
And I thought like that the rape stuff made me really uncomfortable. As rape stuff.
I was gonna say, I think rape stuff's supposed to make you uncomfortable. If you're like turned on, then we have a problem.
No, it wasn't sexy rape. But it was like, it wasn't a good uncomfortable either. Like, you know, as a horror movie fan, I like to be uncomfortable. But this was like, just icky. So yeah, it'll be helpful to go through the notes and get like a clearer picture. But overall, I think it was like not a recommendation.
I can definitely say that as far as like the like attempted rape scene goes in this, it's definitely one of the more unique and bizarre ones that I've encountered, because there's a girl who comes in and is like trying to educate him on how to seduce a woman, but knowing that he's trying to rape her.
Yeah.
So it was this like kind of weird disconnect where this woman's like kind of actively helping a man rape a woman, but like she's not, but she knows what she's doing. So that was a really like a weird disconnect to me. It's like, you do realize he's trying to rape this woman. I know you do, but like she's trying to teach him how to be more sensual with a woman, and she's really kind of taking a dig at him because he wants to be with her, right? There's a scene where she's trying to hook up with the other guy and he comes in and he's trying to get on her and she like rejects him by being like, that doesn't work with me, like, you know, you can't just push yourself on someone. And he's basically like, what does he say? He's like, I'm the leader or something along those lines. Something I wrote it down in here. Stupid. Something insane where he's like, you know, I'm in charge, I'm the leader, or something like that. I'm sure I'll find it in the notes. But like, you know, because I'm in charge of this group we hang out with, you need to just give up your vagina to me. Because that's just how this hierarchy works.
That's so stupid. I didn't like any part of that. And I think that the lead actress, like the teacher lady, I thought her acting was really, really cringy.
Yeah.
And
and she's like way too old.
Way too old for the age they're trying to portray her to be.
So we'll get back to that because I'll bring it up again. We get the opening scene and there's this little girl who witnesses this total dick fuck. Like, he's some greaser kind of guy on a motorcycle. He brings this girl to some like really romantic spot of like a freaking shed.
It's just
off the side of the road where he tries to like throw her down on the ground inside this like kids play shack with like broken dolls on the ground. Yeah. He like throws her on some like dirty tarp and he's like pissed that she doesn't want him to fuck her right there. Mm-hmm. And he's like, stupid bitch and all this stuff. He's so pissed off. About it. And he even like, while he's trying to have sex with her and she's like rejecting him, he then like, he shows his rage and frustration by picking up one of the dolls and tearing its head off.
Oh my God.
And then getting up and walking out and yelling, you know, he's negging her. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I know guys like this actually exist. It's really baffling to me that they do.
It's just like really pathetic.
Yeah.
Like super pathetic.
Yeah.
And also baffling. Like, who would think? Why would you ever think that was how you should behave?
They just get like, it's a fucking sense of entitlement, right? Like, you owe me something. It's like that thing we watched where the guys were like, I'm an American, I deserve pussy.
Oh my God.
What was that?
I don't remember.
Some TV show, I think.
So, yeah. Sense of entitlement.
Yeah. It was evil. It was. Wasn't it?
Oh my God, yeah, I think it was. It was evil. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what it feels like. It's some sort of a sense of entitlement mixed with you're unable to rein in your like horny aggression. Like, guy thinks he's gonna get laid. He doesn't, and like his testosterone level has, you know, elevated, and so when he can't get that release, he doesn't know how to squash down his like, you know, anger from not being able to get pussy. And it's like, dude, everybody gets, you know, everybody gets horny and isn't able to fucking have sex. Like, right? Like, it doesn't give you an excuse to be an asshole. Now, there's definitely being teased and led on, which is totally fucked up and wrong to do to someone too. Like, because there's plenty of women who use that, right? And they love to get guys really excited for them and then shut them down as like some power play, which is totally fucked. So don't do that. But and I could totally understand it. Like, in that situation, a guy just needs to have some self-worth and be like, I see what you're doing. I'm not okay with it. And you need to just leave the situation. right?
Sure.
But you don't have the right to fucking like scream at her, call her stupid bitch, and like attack her like this. Like, no, that's insane. Like, you shouldn't treat her like that no matter what. So these kinds of things are always just crazy to me, that guys think that just because a girl's not putting out, and especially in this situation, I mean, this is so ridiculous. Yeah. He's like just driving her into the middle of fucking nowhere, throwing her down in some dirty shack, trying to bang her, and she's like, not here. And he's like, fucking bitch. Like what?
She doesn't even say like no 100%. She's like, not here. Which, like, is kind of like if she... I don't know if that's actually what she says, though. I know it's been a while since we watched it. But if she just is, like, not here, he could have just been like, all right, let me take you to, like, a hotel. Like, a place with a bed. It's such a... I don't know. The opening is... And then the girl sees it. This little child is, like, hiding behind the shed. And she sees it happen. And it, like...
And she stands up for the girl, basically, right? She goes out there with a handful of mud. And she chucks it at the asshole. Unfortunately, she does this while he's driving. And, you know, never, ever, ever throw mud at a driver. I edited that in the Mouth of Madness line. But this is the case. I mean, he gets mud in the eyes. And he swerves, you know, it makes him lose control of the bike. And this sends them both flying into the air, and both of them are conveniently impaled by two rods that are just sticking out of the ground perfectly for both of their bodies.
For impalement, purposes.
Yes. And this sticks with her. And there's been a few tropes, for sure, that we have seen throughout our slasher watch marathon that we just did. Yeah. We did like 15 freaking slashers in a row, man. We did a lot.
We did.
And, you know, and of course I'm including all of the other slashers I've ever seen, but one of the big tropes that I've definitely noticed in slashers is that if a kid witnesses a murder in the opening or death in the opening of a movie, there's your killer.
Yes.
Right? Like that person's going to grow up to be a killer.
That's the killer, yeah.
Right. So anytime you have, whether it's prom night, whether it's pieces, right, you can go down the list of people who witnessed death as a kid are killers. My Bloody Valentine, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just such a trope of slashers.
Yeah.
Not one I hate. I don't care.
No, yeah.
But I
don't mind it. But
you gotta mention it. Yeah.
Common thread.
And this, of course, makes her awkward because then we jump up 18 years, and in that scene, she can't be more than
5?
6 or 7 at most.
Yeah.
I would say if you told me she was 5, I'd believe you. If you told me she was 7, I believe you. If you told me she was 8, I would tell you you're a liar.
She's like supposed to be in her mid to late 20s when we jump forward. Like,
so
she's
yeah,
a high
18
school teacher.
years, she's 24, 25. That's probably realistic. This actress is 40. So this is funny because we have 40-year-olds, we have 30-year-olds playing high school students and 40-year-olds playing 25-year-olds. Like, they couldn't, and that's just it. That actually probably answers my question right there. I didn't even think of it until right this second. But it's because they cast such old-looking teenagers that they have to make the teacher look older.
Yeah.
And in doing that, she's way too old for the age that she's supposed to be. So if you age up the teenagers, you have to age up the teacher to have age difference. Yeah. Because if they made her 25... she'd just look like one of the students.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So you do have to make her older, even though it doesn't line up, right? This is like the exact opposite of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, right? Or Texas Chainsaw 3D with Alexander Daddario, who's supposed to be playing like 40-something, right? Because she's a baby in the opening in 1974. And then we cut to like 2000 and, 15, 16 or something. And it's like, that was 40 plus years ago.
Right.
And this girl's 22.
Yeah.
Like what? So this is like the exact opposite. This girl's supposed to be like Alexander Daddario's age. but she's actually, the age that... So if they would have just switched, if Alexander Daddario was the teacher in this, I think every student in the school would have been trying to sleep with her.
Yeah, she would have been more at risk.
She would have been being raped nightly. So she's also very, very, very awkward in every way and sexually awkward. They come to her house and they spy on her through the window, which is another trope in slasher movies.
Yeah,
there's always guys that are
happening,
peeping toms.
Kind of reinforces those negative stigmas against slasher movies in a way. Yeah.
It's a way to showcase nudity, right?
It is basically only for that. I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's ever been a time where we've had somebody in a slasher film that we've watched recently, at least, where they're watching someone for any other reason other than to see them naked, and that's 1,000% what that is happening in that scene where they see her getting ready for a shower.
Yeah.
And the main guy gets super turned on by her, and it's oh my god, she's got boobs under all that teacher clothes.
Definitely a body double.
Yeah.
Incredible tits. Not hers, because you can always tell when they never show the face with the tits, right? The tits are the right age.
Yeah.
Those tits are 20-something.
I don't know. I don't remember them as well as you.
I remember them. I remember them. Because I had to go back to take notes on this after we watched it. I decided, shit, I need to go back. So I retroactively went back and took more notes. And I didn't fast forward through that scene. And that's such a funny scene because they're watching her, and of course, as always, in slasher movies, the women never draw the curtain when they take showers.
Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. It's such a...
There'd be water everywhere.
It's such a... I know that they're doing it just because they want to show off the nudity.
Yeah.
But it definitely bothers me because it's so unrealistic. Why can't you just... I mean, they're having people watch her. If that's the case, then she has to have a clear shower. But if it's just a woman by herself, why can't you just bring the camera around the shower curtain?
Because they couldn't see her from the window.
No, I know, but I mean in a different scenario is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Not from not from other characters' perspective trying to watch her, just from the audience trying to watch her, because there's plenty of scenes.
Because they don't want to get the camera wet.
Yeah.
So it
bothers me.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Because, it would be so wet everywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Nobody showers like that.
And speaking of being so wet everywhere, she's masturbating in this scene.
Yeah.
And she's playing with her tits a lot. And these guys are sitting out there watching her. And it's just super gratuitous.
Very gratuitous.
And easily the best scene of the film. So the rest of the film isn't very good. So that was about the only thing. The boobs were good.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
Were
no.
They would
see
cut
when it's cut here. I knew it was a body double.
But they were cutting between her face and her
matter.
reaction and
Didn't matter.
her body. So it's the whole thing. Yeah.
If she's got that face and that body, it's okay. It's okay. Moving on. So yeah, I do like this foreshadowing of when the kid asks, why do we always, he's being a little shit, right? And he asks, why do we always use a number 2 pencil? Why is it always a number 2 pencil? And she's like, because the lead is harder, or the graphite, what is harder. And that is the kid that she stabs to death with a pencil at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. And I think that's something that you would totally miss on your watch. But when she stabbed him with a pencil in it, I was like, oh, maybe that's a reference to earlier in the film with the pencil thing. I'm going to look back and see if that's the kid who asked her. And it sure as hell was.
That's good.
So,
I'm glad that was lined up then.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
And let's see. I don't know. I got nothing there. Rips skirt off swinging clip. What? These notes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes I have no idea what I was saying.
Skirt off clip.
Oh, yeah. I remember. So there's a scene in the hallways with the lockers, and they're trying to play a prank on this football player, and they clip his sweater or his jacket to his girlfriend's skirt, and then they like talk shit to him, so he'll swing on them, and when he swings on them, it'll rip his girlfriend's skirt off, and then she runs off screaming, and I'm like, no. This would not work.
No.
This would not work.
I think it would like just pull her down. Like she would just be like, and like fall.
Well, number one, he'd feel you clipping her,
yes.
To him.
Yeah,
but if for some reason, if he isn't, I'm not seeing him like, who starts swinging from like with his arm around his girlfriend? Like.
Right, why would you?
Like, no, this just would not work. But regardless, I mean, he might like move quick, but rip her skirt off with that little like freaking chip clip. No. And then the scene where they drive the car onto the football field and catch the football. This has got to be, I mean, this is a movie thing, right? We always got to just acknowledge that these are movies, and that especially stupid slasher movies of the 80s, or horror movies, because this isn't much of a slasher. But if you were to, how blind is everybody on the team? How blind is the quarterback to where no one's noticing that a car is driving onto the field? And you can see it coming from a while, like a pretty far distance away. And it drives out onto the field, and the quarterback passes it right to the freaking guy in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only is this asinine, there's no way that he's catching the ball. It's not being thrown to him. The game would immediately stop if someone drove a car onto the field. But in addition to that, like, what's your plan here exactly? Because you're fucking expelled. You just drove a car, risking everyone's lives, onto an active football game for the high school, with your faces showing, like, putting your arms up, drawing so much attention to exactly who you are, driving in your car.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, drive off, and then it's like, oh, we'll come right back to school. Like
no big deal. They'll let us back on campus.
You are expelled. That ain't no suspension. That is an expulsion.
They're just like, this is how we thought football was played.
Like, why don't people just use cars? They'd get right through those defensive linemen, no problem.
Like, human flesh is no match.
I'd score a touchdown every single time.
Yeah, it's a really silly scene, for sure. It's definitely, like, I would say that one was probably more memorable for me than the tit scene.
No.
No. But the car had boobs.
It is definitely more memorable. I mean, you see tits in a trillion fucking movies, right? Like, this is somebody catching a football, and I'll never forget that, for sure. I mean, if you mention that scene to me, I'll always remember it. Because it's asinine.
It's silly. It's really silly.
But
yeah,
it is one of the things that I do like, because it's stupid and funny and absurd, and I'm never going to forget it. And those are the kinds of things, like them or not, right? We're going to talk about another slasher coming up here soon. I haven't taken notes on it yet. I need to go back and rewatch it really quick. But that movie was dreadful. But man, I'll never forget it. So there's the, like, I'm never going to forget it stuff that I like. Yeah. Even though the movie's trash. Right?
Sure.
And this is like one of those scenes where it's like, this is so stupid. Yeah. But I love it.
I just think, like, this movie, I didn't like any of the characters, and I just found them all, like, really unlikable, but I do feel like they were trying to hit all of the slasher tropes without being a slasher. Like, I feel like they were trying to introduce these, like, characters, that were kind of different, because I do remember them setting up the, what are they called? stereotypes, the stereotypical characters.
Archetypes.
But I didn't like any of them. I didn't like their acting, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah, no,
like, at all.
I agree. I didn't like this movie much at all, and I really didn't like the characters. But it is memorable to me, so that says something, I guess. So there you go. I also found it funny that we literally see the coach of the football team walk in to ask out the teacher, which she's like supposed to be 25. This dude is like super, super unattractive and like twice her age.
Nah, and he's like 30.
Yeah, right.
By this movie
standards, he's 30, but in reality he's like 60. And one of the girls in the school who works there with her is like actively trying to set him up with her and like near forcing her, like guilting her into going out with this guy.
She was like,
she's
so
like,
much
I
pressure.
need you to get laid for me.
But that's like, I don't know. That's
it's pure pressure.
It's pure pressure. It's
penis
part
pressure.
Of rape. Like it's yet again
rape pressure.
People being forced to have sexual relations against their wills.
She does go straight from that scene home to masturbate.
I know.
And then she does go out on the date with him, which does not go well.
No, it doesn't. I don't know anything, like, I don't know what to make of her character. I don't know if she's supposed to be, like, sexually repressed. I guess that is what she's supposed to be, but I feel like the way that her character is written and the way that the actress portrays it, it instead comes across as, like, just very confusing. Because she's like,
manic.
Horny, but also, like, wants nothing to do with people.
Sure, she's sexually repressed.
But I know, but like, she doesn't. I don't feel like it's written in a way that's like, I don't know. I don't like the way that it's written about that, and I don't like her acting.
No,
so,
that's
I'll
fine.
Say that
that's fine. I think, I agree. I don't like her acting. I don't like the writing. So there you go. Perfect. And let's see. I know mud triggers her, which of course it would. And I'm the boss. Fucking girls want to like a guy to fuck him. Yeah, I'm the boss. Yeah, because the guy that she's into is John, and he is the one who comes and tags along with them. That was the football player, but is like now not. And then he's like, "Wait, you like John, but I'm the boss. You're fucking me." It's like, what? What world is this guy
boss?
On?
We already high school gang.
We already talked about like her trying to assist in the rape, but not really trying to more teach him a lesson of how to be like more intimate with women.
No, she was 100% complicit.
Sure. She knows what he's doing.
Rape accomplice.
She knows what he's doing.
It was so like it was very unexpected, that scene. We were just both like, "What? She's helping? Like, why would you do that?"
No idea.
Yeah.
There's some cool masks that they wear. One of them was like a Two-Face kind of thing, not like Harvey Dent, but like a different, two different faces on one. Mm-hmm. There was a couple cool masks that they wear. Mm-hmm. And then she just like they come in and they're scaring her, and then she just straight up fucking jumps out the window. Like after the rape scene, she just gets up off the bed and just fucking Gordons herself right out the window. Gordon from Friday the 13th Part 4, the dog. She just Gordons herself right out, just and then just lands, and they think she's dead. So if you jump out a window from the second story of your house, the odds that you're dead are like 0. And like maybe like they're okay. If the only thing that would really kill you from that height, jumping out a window, is if the glass severed some kind of an artery. You'd be bleeding profusely, and there'd be tons of blood everywhere. There's no blood.
No.
And the guy goes up, the fat guy who gets killed with the pencil, he goes up to check her, and he's like, "She's dead." How is she dead? How is she dead? Dead? Is there a rock next to her she hit her head on? Like, is she... Then once again, she'd be bleeding profusely from her, wound, or she'd have a, large, wound or something. Like just jumping out your second story window and landing on the grass, you're not gonna die from that. You're just not going to die from that. It's absurd to me that they think that she's dead from jumping out the window and onto grass and there's no blood anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, what? They don't pay attention in school, so it does, and it makes sense that she's alive, but it's incredibly stupid to me that not one of them is like, are you sure she's dead?
Right.
That doesn't seem like, because here's the funny thing. Here's the fucking funny thing. The guy who goes to check on her to see if she's dead and thinks she's dead without any proof other than, I can't find a heartbeat in her fucking toe, is the guy who just 5 minutes ago fell from the exact same distance.
Yeah, exactly.
He fell off of her roof on the first story. There's like an awning that they're up antagonizing her on the second floor. So he's on that second floor and he falls off onto his back and they come around and they're like, are you okay? And he laughs it off. It's like, you literally just fell, outside of breaking through glass, you literally just fell the same distance as her, but somehow you think she's dead and you laughed when you fell from that distance. Like, what? I don't know. Wouldn't he say something like, dude, I just fell from this distance. How is she dead?
Sure, he should say
like, I'm fine. I wasn't even winded. He's laughing.
Right.
I've fallen from that distance many times. I've been thrown off things. That wrestling video I showed you, it was higher than what she fell out of. I was thrown off of a freaking shipping container onto my back from that distance. It hurt, but I'm not dead. Yeah. Obviously. Anyways, moving on. Just so stupid.
It is really dumb.
So stupid. And I love how these guys' plan is to plant evidence on this other guy while they're hanging out in her house, touching everything, kicking back, hanging out in there, just doing shit, while this guy's off across town trying to plant evidence on some dude that clearly has an alibi.
Oh my god.
He's so out in public.
Clearly. Out in public
with
just
tons of people.
From the game.
Yeah.
Like, he's the worst person to try and frame.
Correct. You want to go to somebody who's home alone.
Yes.
And frame them.
Yeah.
Not the guy who's been at the football game, then is out at a diner with all of his friends and is probably not going home for a long time, while you hang out at the crime scene around the body and inside the house, touching everything, putting your DNA and your fingerprints and everything. DNA probably not in the 80s, but regardless.
Yeah.
Like, once again, the dumbest kids.
So dumb.
The dumbest kids.
They didn't graduate.
No, they're not going to graduate. Because they're dead.
Yes, exactly. Because
they're dead. I also love that this guy who goes to plant the evidence on this guy's car is really sneaky about it. Super, super sneaky. Goes over to the car, puts the evidence in, then like creeps back to his car, gets away with all of it.
Yep.
Then gets in the car, floors it out of the parking lot, drawing every bit of attention to him, and then the guys see him and take off after him.
Yes, he could have just gotten away.
They get into a motorcycle accident chasing after him.
Yeah.
But knowing it's him.
Right.
Like,
they knew the whole
why would you go to the lengths of being that sneaky and then floor it out of the parking lot?
Because he's dumb.
He could go this way to where they're not going to see him, right? He pulls out of the driveway and goes this way and floors it. I mean, you shouldn't floor it, but if you're going to floor it, don't floor it to then drive through the path of the fucking front of the restaurant with the glass that you can look out to and see. You can drive that way too. So not only does he floor it, but he floors it past the window of the guy he just planted the evidence on, who is specifically looking for them because of what they did earlier at the game.
Like, he's already like
they made him rip off his girlfriend's skirt, and then they fucked up his game by driving out on the field. He's very much looking for these guys. Yeah. So to draw attention, it's so dumb. There's so many things that are so dumb in this movie.
Yes, 100%. I don't want to defend it because I hate it, so I think you said
There's no defending it.
No.
There's no defending it.
Even if I wanted to, I don't think I could.
Yeah. And I already talked about all that. So we find out that the biology teacher that is our main girl here, who becomes the slasher in the end, wants to play surgeon. And she's going to cut open this dude, and she starts to scream. When she cuts into him, number one, I was like, he has AIDS. Careful. That's not a funny joke, because he really did, and he died.
Yeah.
But when she cuts into him, like she like takes his scalpel and like just nicks him and like starts to cut him. His scream,
oh my god,
is so genuine. That is like pure horror terror. Like it's like a freaking it's like when we just watched Goosebumps.
Yeah.
And that kid had like the girly scream.
Yeah.
Like if someone tries to do an autopsy on you while you're still alive, I feel like I don't care if you're fucking like Barry White or The Rock. Like you're gonna scream like a girl. Be high pitched. I'm like, ah! I don't think I have a high pitched scream. I don't think I can do one. Even if I try.
Don't try.
I can't. Yeah, I would.
Maybe a cat.
I used to be able to, like when I was in my puberty stage.
Sure,
or even prepubescent. But definitely, when my voice was squeaky and cracking from hormones
before
and
your balls
the change.
dropped.
Yeah. I could get some really wild noises out of my vocal cords.
That's like what teen boys love to do. They're always
now,
like
even in my 20s and like maybe late 20s, I could still get some higher pitches out. I can't get anything out now. I go to do it, and I'm like, it's just like there-ish. Yeah. But I used to be able to do that like
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't do it anymore. I don't know what happened.
Testosterone.
Too much cum.
Too much cum
in my throat.
Oh.
From all that I've been doing. I don't know what it is. It isn't that, but you can think it is. And yeah, I like how she goes into like total fucking psycho mode and is like, shouldn't have hurt my dolly. Like. Yeah. She is loony. I actually like that. When she goes psycho, she plays psycho well.
Sure.
But she doesn't play like unhinged, I'm trying to keep it together well. When she goes full psycho, I'm like, believable. Yeah, I believe you. I believe you're actually psychotic. And then I love how once the guy's freed from his autopsy, he's like, no, she's got to die. And he literally just jumps onto the blade.
Oh my god.
And also kills her at the same time. It's like a double impalement, like it's how the movie starts. Uh-huh. But he jumps right onto the knife.
Not the smartest group.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with the guy he planted the evidence on gets carted off to jail. And the teacher comes and tries to talk to John, and John just completely freaks out, loses it, and starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if, like, he just went into catatonia, or catatonia. We said Tanya was the country. Sounded more like a country.
Catatonia was
Catatonia is
the... I don't know. Now I don't know which way to say it, so he becomes catatonic. I can say that one.
Yeah, catatonic is 100%. It's catatonia, right? Catatonia? Shit. I don't know. We had it right when I corrected myself, but now I'm fucking confused.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But I don't know what this really means. I don't know if this is like he's gonna get arrested because he's gonna like spill the beans and be like, I did it. Or if he's just like hysterical and they're like, fuck is wrong with John? And then he just kind of goes about his life being like her. And he's all fucked up. And he's going to be the killer 20 years later.
Dude, I don't know what the meaning is. I don't know. Maybe that he's just like messed up and it's going to be the killer.
I feel like he's going to get arrested. I feel like he's broken and he's going to cop to it. That's the sense I got, but I don't know. Because it's the impression that I get. You know that song?
Nope.
The Mighty Mighty Boss Tones?
No. But I like when you sing it.
For knocked on wood. Anyway. So yeah, that's the movie. Some dumbass characters doing some dumbass things.
It's not entertaining, at least not for us. Well, some of it was entertaining, I guess. It wasn't worth a
I didn't
watch.
hate it. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate our watching it. I'm glad we watched it for the channel. I think it's one of those slasher movies that is worth a watch for completionists who want to know the genre.
Yeah.
It's not a movie where I watch it like fucking Bloody Murder or something where I'm just like this is adding, even though that is a movie that people bring up and are like it's part of the genre. It's trash. It's pure trash. There's nothing about it that's remotely resembling entertainment or memorable anything.
Yeah.
Right? So, no. But this one, I don't know. I think there's something to it that slasher fans should give it a watch. And it's on YouTube for free. Yeah. Just to kind of talk, understand what we're talking about if you haven't seen it. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No, I think we did. I think you did a good job summarizing it. I mostly sat here and was like, oh yeah, that happened.
Because you had no memory of it because we watched it weeks ago.
But I didn't like it, although I agree with you as far as like slasher fans, if you want to be more well-versed in the genre, I guess it should be a watch. But I was not a fan. So that's it. Which totally I said multiple times.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
So let us know if you watch it. Adios.